Welcome to the season 2 premiere. Did you guys miss me? Do you guys miss me? Well, I hope you guys did because now we're back and we have more exciting guests that will be coming for season 2. So you better stay tuned because it will be great. And on this episode, I am so happy to be part of this. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to introduce myself. Miguel Mike Medina, Triple M. Oh man, I can't believe I forgot to do that at the beginning, but I did it anyway. So, back to the subject. Today's guest for this episode is someone that I met a few years ago, and I've been in contact with this person ever since. He is such a professional. He is a managing director, an executive producer. He does so many things, and it's a great honor to have him for this episode. I had I was very fortunate that I was a guest for his podcast, and now I'm returning the favor to have him, a local of the neighborhood, to be part of my show. So stay tuned, cause this is very exciting, and you're gonna learn so much about what he's doing and everything about his journey and to where he is right now. So check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the founder and executive producer of Inwood Film Festival and so many more hats that he wears, Aaron Sims. Aaron, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me here.
All right. So we're gonna take it back all the way to Butler University. You majored in theater. Did you discover your passion for the arts when you were in college, or is this something that you knew from a long time ago, even before college, that you want to do this?
Found my passion to the arts through auditioning for a school play in high school my sophomore year. I played football, and I ended up breaking my leg at the end of my sophomore year. My dad taught at my high school, and my dad's a science teacher, and he would prepare labs, and he would stay an hour and a half after school every day to prepare for the next day or the week. And so he's like, you need to find something to do because we're all right home together. And so his teacher's aide was in drama club and got me, encouraged me, and her brother was in my homeroom, and they encouraged me to audition for the school play, which I did on crutches, and ended up getting a part, and as an extracurricular activity, stayed later. So that solved that problem for my dad. Freshman year, I played football in college, and after my freshman year, I ended up getting injured in the off season, and I had a passion for theater, but I didn't. No one in my family was in the arts. No one in my family, let alone theater. And so I took as part of your core requirements your freshman year, you have to take all these, somehow arts and humanities course somehow in some way and satisfy these core requirements. And I took a theater class that was taught by a gentleman named Dennis Black, who worked on the Equalizer series in New York. Remember that way back when? And we ended up reading all these plays and said, I like theater then. Is there any opportunities to act here on campus, whatever? And he's like, yeah, the directing students are directing short scenes and for their whatever directing class. And I end up, he asked me if I'm interested, and I put my phone number out there and got a call, auditioned, and I'm getting a long story short, get cast in the play there. And as a freshman, paired up with a senior, and it was a one act play that I ended up having all the lines in, which was strange. I thought the senior would have all the lines, and just rekindled my love for theater, and ended up actually talking to the chair of the theater department, seeing if I could major in it. but they already had their auditions, and so they put me on probation, let me take acting classes so I can practice it. I think because I was a guy and there were barely any guys in theater back then, let alone guys who played football and did theater back then, they took a chance on me. And I got cast in a main stage show my first semester, my sophomore year, and the rest is history. I found my family there, like my niche, and and that really started, that actual training and the immersement into not just acting, but wardrobe, and set design, and light design, and management, and playwriting, and it was total liberal arts education. So you did everything. You swept the floors, you hung the lights, you stayed late. That's what you did, and you acted in friends' plays while they acted in yours, and all that fun stuff. So it was a very, very collaborative environment, and that definitely was the beginning of my journey, my professional journey. Because after that summer, after that year at Butler, I get cast in my first professional show. It was in 1995 or so, and yeah, that really was the launch of my career in theater.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an amazing journey of your career in theater. And then after your time in Butler University, you went to Columbia University, which you did your master's for theater management and producing. And it made total sense because of everything that you're doing nowadays. So, and you went on to work at New Ohio Theater, which it was unbelievable to find out that you worked there, because it's one of those theaters that I've always heard about, but I never got a chance to go. But hopefully in the future, I'll go catch a play over there. And you were the producer and general manager there. How was your experience like in the Ohio Theater?
Great. We did a show called Soot and Spit. It was a world premiere by Charles Mee, who is a wonderful playwright, and I encourage you all to read his work. Kim Wield directed the show, and New Ohio is, first off, great place to do theater and see theater. It's one of the very few last remaining venues for off and off Broadway. So I fully support them and their mission to keep encouraging creation of new work and challenging work for the community. So it's for that show. I helped produce and general manage the show, and we brought it to light, and it was a New York Times critics pick, and a lot of people came to see it and really enjoyed it, and we hope to do it again at some other point. Kim's out, I think, directing in Pittsburgh right now and teaching at Carnegie Mellon. And Chuck Mee is always around. He's always doing great stuff. The New Ohio, particularly coming out of the pandemic too, I just think it's wonderful place to see theater, and I hope everyone goes down and sees plays there.
So now York Theater, you've been there for 3 years and a half now over there. What is it about New York? What is it about York Theater that it makes it so special?
Well, the York Theater Company is a 52, I think, year-old theater company now. And yes, I have not been there the entire time. What's special about them is that they are an off-Broadway theater company dedicated to producing new musicals and preserving and rediscovering old gems from the past through various publications, through its main stage productions, musicals and mufti series, stage readings, workshops, etc. So I think it's other than, I think, Amos Musical Theater, they're like the only two, I think, dedicated like only musicals. That's it, off Broadway. Which I believe actually Amos started the exact same year. I started as general manager there, and now I'm the managing director of the theater company, and I kind of I do a lot of work for the company in the sense of, from the producing side, I production manager shows, the general manager shows, sometimes company manager shows when I have to. But I keep the ball moving forward, and I keep or pushing the boulder up the hill, so to speak, for the company. Kind of acting as also as the institutional of the York Theater itself, kind of the CFO and manager of the finances and accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, all contracts and licensing, and working with the artists and the budgets and making sure we keep moving forward in a fiscally responsible way, and yet doing all the art that we can afford and keep producing high quality um, theater for the community.
Directing or producing?
Producing.
Theater or films?
Theater.
Baseball or football?
Oh man, playing. I will say myself personally playing. Um, I love I love playing baseball. It's so much fun, and I can probably still do it. Unlike playing football now, where I'm deathly out of shape from positions I played back in the day. But I love them both dearly. But so I'll say, if I'm playing it, probably baseball now, but watching it, I think football is the most fun to watch.
Last but not least, radio or podcast?
I'm a big radio fan, to be fair. But it's funny because like it's it's hard to judge in a way. I'll say radio because I grew up listening to the radio, and I like the fact that whatever, because because it's like a sub question with the formatting, right? Like, is it serial? Is it NPR versus like rock and roll DJ versus AM radio versus like I still have like a subscription to listen to baseball games with the MLB app. I can listen to I'm from Cincinnati originally, and I can listen to the Cincinnati Reds hometown broadcasters on the radio, listening to the entire game as I walk around Inwood Hill Park and get some exercise or whatever. At the same time is that podcasts are great too because I produce them, and they have a certain mission to them, and they have a certain like program that it's on demand more. And radio, you kind of but I love I mean, today everything's so digital, you can capture so much, but when you grew up in an era of radio that is, it's like in the ether, it's very temporary. It's like you had to be there to catch it. That's before on demand, before all that stuff. And so you hoped you heard your favorite song and or got exposed to a new song based off of other curation. So I really think radio is like there's the ephemeral quality is the word I was looking for of radio is something I think I really enjoy though.
And speaking of podcasts, you are the host of Inwood Artworks on air, in which you meet and interview musicians, filmmakers, writers, theater makers, the list goes on and on. I know this is a tough one I'm about to ask you because you've interviewed so many people so far. Is there any one, two, or maybe three top guests that were on your show on podcast that you were just amazed by their story?
Wow, I mean, it's kind of like the same question I get when I do theater, saying, "What's your favorite play?" It's like, well, the one I'm currently working on is kind of like that's really the person I'm interviewing or have interviewed last in a way. I think, like, for instance, the last person I interviewed, Shloka Iyengar, who's a neuroscientist and also a Bharatanatyam Indian dancer, traditional Indian dance, and you're just like, what a cool story is that? That you get to talk to someone who works in neuroscience and also tries to incorporate traditional dance and use dance and use science to bridge connections with people and solve problems, behavioral problems, and using art to connect people with wellness and mental health. I mean, what a great idea and a great story. I think everyone has their own. I'll just mention that because that was literally the last one we did, which will premiere this week. But yeah, it's just I mean, I'm a big music fan too, and I'll just say that some of my favorite are the Live and Local series we do, where we have local musicians play music and they get to share their original tunes. And I'll just mention a handful of my favorites that I enjoy. They're all wonderful. Andrea Whitkins is a wonderful singer-songwriter. Rich Shamaria, and he brought a whole quartet to play with him. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And actually, he composed a new song for the podcast. I mean, how crazy is that? Like an 8-minute song he composed with arrangements for bass, drums, and piano and trumpet. I mean, it's truly what a tip of the hat to the podcast and what we're doing, and to the artists as well. So there's just, yeah, so many wonderful people in this community to keep celebrating. And I'll say now, to plug it in a way, is like, if you're a local artist in the community of Inwood, Washington Heights, and thereabouts, Kingsbridge, Marble Hill, the hood, the neighborhood, so to speak, and want to be on it, and you're a talented person, let us know your work, and we'll see what we can do.
Inwood Film Festival.
Yeah.
For all of us who are from the neighborhood, we know how incredible and how lucky we are to have a festival like Inwood Film Festival dedicate to our work and tell stories coming from our neighborhood. The world doesn't know that. If you're not from the neighborhood, you're not gonna understand how impactful that is. So my question to you is, when can we see the next Inwood Film Festival?
The next Inwood Film Festival, I will say, will happen this year. I will guarantee it. It's going to happen. And I'm making good, because about 2 years ago, so it was March 9th in 2020 when we called it off. And I said, I'm making good on this. Like, we are postponing. We're not canceling. And when I say postpone, I mean I'm good to my word that we're going to do this festival again. It's going to come back, and I'm going to make good on the promises to all those filmmakers who we wanted to show those films back then too, and also the future generations of films that are and filmmakers that are kind of come out, that have worked and have found their creativity and maybe tapped into a filmmaking side of their persona over the pandemic. And who have made some great work. So my hope is that this year we're going to do this film festival, bring out back the 5th annual Inwood Film Festival, and then that's going to be the catalyst to keep it going annually. So this year, I promise.
Something that we're hoping for. So God willing, we make that happen. And where can we see your work or anything else? Where can we find you on social media?
Sure. Well, it's not called Aaron Sims Presents. It's called Inwood Artwork. So it's not about me. It's about everything else I'm doing up here and putting the spotlight on local artists like yourself who do a fantastic job. So you go to inwoodartworks.nyc and you'll see the programs that I've established through Inwood Artworks. The Inwood Film Festival, Filmworks Al Fresco, which is the only free outdoor English and Spanish language cinema series in New York City, also based uptown. And we have the podcast Inwood Artworks on Air. We did the Mendelssohn on the Hudson project. It's still up there, which is a English walking tour in the footsteps of the German Jews that lived and emigrated to Washington Heights from Europe, Germany, and other parts. And so that's a podcast, a walking tour podcast. There is, most importantly, the pop-ups that we do, and I hope to do those again too. We take over dormant commercial space and turn them into art galleries and mini performing arts centers and cultural arts hubs. And that's again, our hope is that with the COVID restrictions easing and the community healing, we hope there's more opportunities to bring more opportunities to show visual artists work and keep dedicating, giving opportunities to visual artists as well. So we're thrilled to be able to do this. And I really do feel this year is going to be, a return with a vengeance, back but better, and climbing back to where we were before, and having learned and appreciated the growth over the past 2 years and moving our mission forward. So inwoodartworks.nyc is our website, at Inwood Artworks on Instagram and Twitter, and Facebook is at just Inwood Artworks.
Aaron, this platform, the whole reason I created the Respect and Praise Show is to give people their flowers while it's still here, help promote people who don't get enough exposure or people don't know so much about them. So Aaron, I salute you. Thank you for everything that you do in the community and for the theater community as well. I appreciate you and best of luck to everything that will be coming forward ahead.
Thank you so much, Miguel, Mike Medina. You're the man. You're doing great work, and you know, I think high tide raises all boats. I love what you're doing. I love that more people in the community are going to come here and see all the great artistry that you're doing, and other people in the community. And I can only hope that we all just keep pushing it forward.
That does it for today's The Respect and Praise Show. Stay tuned for the next episode. Always remember, have mutual respect, mutual love, and mutual admiration. So until next time.